Shattered to unbreakable. Listen here, sweet sister. Whether you think you have one little crack or you are shattered into a billion pieces, this podcast is going to give you the resources, tools, and skills to help piece yourself back together to form a beautiful, unique, solid, and unbreakable masterpiece. You are listening to Shattered to Unbreakable, the Reclaim Podcast. Let's talk. Hello, and welcome back to another episode of Shattered to Unbreakable. I'm your host, Brandy Babin, and I am coming to you today to talk about something that I have been praying about for a while, and that is prayerful obedience. So obedience kind of has gotten a bad rap, the meaning of the word obedience, or like maybe not the meaning, but the mood of the word obedience, especially if you're talking about the relationship between men and women. Of course, if you talk to more of a feministic type woman, she's like, no, thank you. And then if you talk to the more, on the other side of the spectrum, women who are saying, like, if you want to be a good godly woman, then you need to be submissive and you need to obey and all of these things. I'm not really talking about any of that. I'm actually taking more of the approach of your relationship with God, not necessarily your relationship with anyone else. And what I mean by that is I have started wrestling with societal norms and how they've changed so much over the years. And the best example I can give you when I'm talking about this is the dating world. And I know I'm in it, so bear with me. It's going to pertain to everyone, I promise. But in the dating world, this is just an example. Nowadays, taking it to the next level with your partner is expected, and maybe by both people, but more so expected by men. It is expected that you will take it to that level. And I'm like worried about saying the word because I'm like, are there little ears listening? But taking it to the level of extreme intimacy that should really only be for you and the love of your life. But now it's expected for you to take it there with anyone you're dating. And there are also women who are like, yeah, I want to. Okay, that's fine. Do what you do. I see it as a deep, 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 deep connection. And when I look at being intimate with somebody, I look at it as giving a piece of my soul to them. Because in my opinion, it was created by God to be this beautiful divine connection. And I think that there's a reason why some of the translations of the Bible, they call it knowing your wife. When he knew her, like that is the ultimate knowing of someone, to be a part of their soul, be connected in a soul-like way. And so to me, it's a big deal. Intimacy is a very big deal. When I am in the dating world as an older woman, it's less expected to want to remain pure. And it's actually like very rare. And people look at you really weird and they're like, oh, good luck. It just doesn't happen. So let's go back. Regardless of preference, I'm not calling anyone out. I'm not trying to say you're doing anything wrong. I'm just telling you my preference is to wait. And that's not the norm right now. It's changed dramatically. Now, let's just say we're dating in 1945. It is expected that you will not be intimate unless there's a wedding. And women would get 3, 4, 5, 6 proposals, waiting for their man. And now it's like, you got to pull teeth to get somebody to propose to you. And so it's this very weird societal norm that has changed dramatically over the years. When did it change? From women expecting to be respected in the intimate world to now it's like, well, I better give it up so I don't lose somebody, or I have to do this in order to find someone. When you're looking at prayerful obedience, you're looking at what is the purpose of what I'm doing and is it bringing glory to God? For me, intimacy brings glory to God when it is with the one person that you're supposed to be with, the person that you're to share your soul with, to become one, and they can't be broken back apart. You can't be one with more than one person. That's not how it was meant to be. And I understand the logistics, and I know some of you are like, but that doesn't work. I know, like that's the whole point that I'm talking about. It doesn't work now. It used to work. And it used to be the norm to wait and to only be with one person and to wait until marriage and like to wait to even have a first kiss or to wait to hold hands, or like it was just when did that change from respecting a woman by not touching her throughout the first few dates, and then like the kiss was a very big deal, and then you might hold hands or hug, but you were not intimate until you were married. Of course there's exceptions to every rule, but I'm just saying that was the norm. Now the norm is second or third date, like that's expected. You better be ready. And I just don't get it. I just don't get it. And even my own father has told me, like, oh, if you're waiting till you're married again, you're going to be alone forever. All right, fine, whatever. I'll be alone forever then. If it's that important to a man that he can't respect me in that way and know that this is a soul thing, then I don't want a man. It's fine. I digress. But when I'm talking about prayerful obedience, that was my example. Now let me switch it into everyday living, because so many of you are not going to relate to that part. But it's just an example to show you societal norms and how they're changing. So let's bring it back to something that does pertain to most of you, and that is prayerful obedience in your day-to-day life. What does that look like? What does it look like to live a godly life? What does that look like to be a good person every day? Is it like making sure you strap your seatbelt on? Is it making sure you smile at everyone you pass? Is it not getting mad and saying something mean to somebody or not thinking ill of anybody? Like, I'm not talking about getting scrupulous and all this nitty-gritty details. But what I am talking about, and I'll use my kids as an example that's more relatable, prayerful obedience would be at night when I'm exhausted and I get home and I don't want to make dinner. Prayerful obedience is looking at the glory behind the action. If I give them an unbalanced meal because I'm tired, there's no glory in that. But if I'm tired and I serve my kids a meal that's healthy for them, there's glory in that. And that is where I find motivation and I find energy to put into my kids even when I'm exhausted. And it's this prayerful obedience. Like, God, is this bringing glory to you or not? Same thing with what I eat every day. Do I want that Reese's? Yeah, it's delicious. But is it bringing glory to God? And I know it sounds so stupid, but is it bringing glory to my body? Is it bringing glory to my body? Because my body serves God all day long. And if I don't feed it something healthy that's going to fuel it, then my brain doesn't work right. I don't have the energy to do what I need to do. I don't have the clarity. And it messes with my sleep and it messes with my digestive system. It's not good for my teeth. Like, there's all these different things. I'm like, all right, does this Reese's bring glory to God? Does it bring glory to my body? Does it help my body bring glory to God? Not really. This prayerful obedience keeps me away from a Reese's and puts me towards the trail mix, right? I'm trying to use this as a tool. So it's not to bring shame to you. It's not to be like, well, if you don't cook your kids a home cooked balanced meal, then shame, shame, shame. No, I'm not saying that, because there are nights where you are just exhausted and it's everything you can do just to survive. I've had those nights and I'm not shaming you for that. But what I am saying is, like, use this as a tool to where you can muster up some more motivation. You can muster up some more energy, because you're doing it for a higher purpose. That's the really cool thing about prayerful obedience. And that's why I wanted to do this podcast, is if I just throw out the words prayerful obedience to people, their immediate reaction is like, because it's pressure, it's guilt and shame. Like, Christians are so good at doing this to each other. I absolutely hate it when Christians bring shame on each other for not acting in this perfect way. 100% bugs me, because you're such a hypocrite if you're telling someone how to live. I'm sorry. Please stop. Live your life as an example of the way you think others should live theirs, and keep your mouth shut. Just live it. As I'm doing a podcast, keep your mouth shut. I know. I'm a hypocrite too. No, but I'm trying to shed light on this. Okay. So I just think it's we can change the connotation or the mood of the phrase prayerful obedience, because it's just so freeing to me to take the ball out of my court, so to speak. Do I really have to decide whether or not I should eat these Reese's or not? No, like, I obviously know I shouldn't, because it's not good for me. And it's not about depriving me of something I enjoy, because I don't actually enjoy eating the Reese's. Does it taste good? Yes. Afterwards, I have a film in my mouth, my stomach hurts, I get a sugar high and a sugar crash. I don't like eating Reese's. If you really think about it, I don't like eating sugary candies. I feel icky afterwards in so many ways. What is it about this sugar that I'm wanting? And it's just a mindset, y'all. It's just a mindset. You have childhood nostalgia about it, or you like the texture of it while you're eating it, or the chemicals they put in some of this bad food is addicting and pleasurable. That's why they put it in there, so that you'll be addicted to it. Instead, find a texture that matches the texture of a Reese's that's healthy for you and replace that. It's so nice to be able to take the shame and guilt out of your decisions and ask yourself, does this bring glory to my family, to myself, to my body, to God, to my coworkers, to my mom, to my friends? It's a really great way to give yourself that extra backing, that extra support behind decision making and behind relationship fostering. With my kids, we started the most amazing thing. I just wanted them to have one-on-one time with me. And as a single mom, it just doesn't happen. There's nobody at the house to watch them while I take one of them on a date, right? And I can't afford to hire a babysitter and take each kid out for an hour. You're spending money while you're out. You're spending money on the babysitter, and I have 4 of them, so it's 4 hours, and that's a lot, So it's very expensive to try to do these one-on-one dates with my kids. So what I decided was I was going to spend 15 minutes with each kid every night. Just us. They each have their own room, so I can go in their room and it's just us time. And all the other kids, oddly enough, respect each other's time. And it's been magical. There are nights when I am so tired. There are nights that I'm like, oh my gosh, I got him to bed later than I wanted. And now I'm going to be up for another hour because each kid gets 15 minutes. And I don't put a timer on or anything, but it's like I want each kid to have time with me. And I want time with them. They're so different when you get them alone versus when they're all together. I love spending one-on-one time with the kiddos. But it doesn't matter how tired I am. It doesn't matter how they behaved that day. It doesn't matter if they just screamed and yelled at me 2 minutes before their time. They still get their time. And they still get tickles and hugs and loves and a song or a book. My son likes to pray a decade of the rosary every night. Like, this is time that I am prayerfully obedient in. And it brings glory to my kids. It brings glory to our relationship, and it brings glory to God in the long run. Yes, I might suffer sleep loss, but it's so worth it. And it's just, if you look at it that way, like, I'm really, really tired. I'm going to skip the time with them tonight and just go to bed because I deserve to get sleep and I really need it. And so do they. And that's true. It is true. But which one brings more glory to God? 15 minutes with each child that fosters our relationship, nurtures our relationship, and allows us to bond better. And the consistency of it, knowing that no matter what, mom will be there every night and we'll get our time. Or does going to bed early bring more glory to God and the relationship? It's both could be fine. Like, if the kids were bad and they really don't deserve the time because they just yelled at me and like weren't nice, I really don't want to go spend time with them after they do that. I would rather go to bed. To me, that sounds like a more pleasurable option. But which one brings more glory? Do you see how it just helps with the decision making? So I bring this prayerful obedience to you today to say it doesn't have to have a bad connotation. It doesn't have to have pressure and shame and guilt to it. Prayerful obedience is what aligns you to God. And when you're in alignment, your life is so good. Seriously, try it. Aligned life is all that we talk about in Reclaim. When you are aligned, everything feels peaceful. Even in chaos, you feel peace. I love this card that I pulled with my relationship coach, and it was the card of a hummingbird. And it said, it's introducing you to stillness and motion, because the wings are moving so fast, but the hummingbird can hover still and stay in one spot. And so it's this stillness in motion. Like you're moving so fast, but you have a stillness about you that's almost stoic and confident and reliable. And so I want you just to challenge yourself to look at each decision throughout your day and say, where is this bringing glory and honor? And be prayerfully obedient for yourself and for your kids, for your husband, for your job, for God. I just am really excited to see how you guys do with this. So let me know, give me your feedback. I hope that I gave you kind of a new viewpoint to look at, and that is another tool in your tool belt to live a peaceful, aligned life with meaning and purpose, because that's exactly what I want for you. I'll see you next week. Stay sparkly. Thanks for hanging out with us today. I just wanted to remind you about the resources we have on the reclaimstrategy.com. That is Reclaim University with free downloads. It's the Reclaim Guidebook, access to Kintsugi classes and events. So go ahead and take a look. Also, please share this podcast with anybody that you think might need to hear these messages. And if you haven't already and you think we deserve it, give us a 5-star rating. That just helps our reach. So I love you guys. Stay sparkly, and we will see you next week.